Good afternoon. I'm so honored and delighted to be here today. And just listening to all these speeches, I am just so excited about what the future's going to be for Canada. As Canada approached her 100th birthday, new and innovative educational institutions were coming to life across the country. Emerging from a tradition of vocational education, Canada's colleges opened their door to thousands of new learners. And you need to know that these institutions were founded on several pillars, the first of which was we were tools of democracy. Indeed, we were meant to open the doors to thousands of learners for whom university was not a path to go, or whose socioeconomic status would not allow them to pursue post-secondary. We were created to serve new and emerging industries, and we were created to meet the needs of business and industry. Think high touch, high tech. Health, technology, communication, arts, culture. While much has changed since colleges were established, our goals of social and economic inclusion make our work arguably more relevant today and explains why our work is in demand in countries across the globe. We offer a comprehensive approach to learning, educating across disciplines. We lead dynamic applied research. We now offer degrees and diplomas, and we've got a changing student base that more and more sees wonderful university graduates coming to college to prepare for the world at work. Now, to imagining our role in Canada at 150. Throughout history, Canada's flag has been a remarkable symbol. The warmth of the red maple leaf welcomed immigrants with a promise of a new life, a symbol of birth and of change and of renewal. Its surrounding whiteness seemed a portrait of the vastness of our land, reflecting that there was indeed space for all. The gentleness of the overall image never denied the strength of the tree that first bore the leaf. Canada, wild and free, welcoming, peaceful, determined, the kind, strong, and good neighbor to the power of the West. My vision for Canada at 150 is a vision that pulls at the threads of an idealized nation, that adapts them for our times, and that weaves principles and values into an education that teaches craft and character. Centennial College, my college, was named in honor of Canada's first 100 years. Our vision is to transform lives and communities through learning, and we do not take it lightly. Now to the threads. My first. I believe that learning should be a contact sport, like hockey. I confess my perspective is that of an educational leader who passionately believes that learning should be visceral, imaginative, exciting, liberating, and empowering. Education must be comprehensive, it should have teeth, it should have heart, and it should transform. Our Canada must continue to draw students from across the globe, to engage them in learning that challenges them academically, even if it pushes them out of their comfort zone. I think colleges have a unique role to play in this because of our expertise with applied learning. And let me take a moment to stress that I detest the stereotype that says, if you think, you go to university, and if you do, you go to college. Let me be really clear. Applied learning takes what's up here in your head and in your brain and in your heart, and it brings it to life. I believe that colleges educate for the labor force, but we do that in a way that is liberating. It's not about ghettoizing a student. The best gift we can give anyone is to teach them how to learn. So let's think of learning as a contact sport. The second thread. Canada is known as a welcoming place, committed to multiculturalism. A country who has been said so brilliantly this morning moves way beyond tolerance and towards understanding. At my institution, we're led by Gandhi's words, to be the change we wish to see in the world. And this world is in one interesting state, with a number of significant dualities. We are awed by our humanity, and we are shocked by our lack of it. We celebrate peace even as we conduct war. We have a moving tributes to human achievement, even as we express astonishment and terror at the violence we're capable of. We celebrate the advancement of women, even as we hear rape escalate as a tool of war and girls murdered for the audacious crime of daring to go to school. Arguably, the world needs powerful voices with profound and practical solutions. Education can fuel this. We must offer students more ways to engage, to challenge. We hear a lot about skill shortages in this country, but it's time to put leadership at the very top of that list. We must see education not as transactional, but in fact as transformational. One of the powerful gifts of transformational education is that it opens eyes and it gives voice, especially at colleges like my own, where we put an emphasis on this notion of global citizenship. We expose the sheltered and the naive to the complexities of the world, and in doing so, we show them not only that they must help, but in fact, that they have the power to do so. In an ever-changing world, there can be little doubt about the necessity for education. From the poorest countries to the wealthiest, the recognition that learning a living is the way forward is commonplace. But how we learn, what we learn, who is granted the right to that learning, these are the significant questions. And the answers hang over countries and citizens like thick black gauze. Some of us get to peer out, some of us cut through, and some of us are simply smothered. While we can be proud of our post-secondary education and participation rates in Canada, we can and must do more. We can educate not simply with the important and worthy goal of changing the individual, but rather with the aspiration of having the individual empowered to change the world, or at least their part of it. At Centennial, we introduced our groundbreaking signature learning experience, and we took the tradition of applied and creative learning to a whole new place. We embedded outcome for every student, learning outcomes for every single student in global citizenship and social justice. So our journalists, our animators, our nurses, our auto mechanics are all having these conversations. Canada has a well-earned reputation for inclusion. Now we must aim for a similar reputation for being the catalyst for solutions to some of the world's most pressing problems. Graduates with a profound desire to give back, to engage the world, it offers them the best hope, here and abroad. The third thread, that we use technology as a gateway to social and economic inclusion. It's an unassailable fact that technology's changed our world. It's taken us from writing long, languid letters to blasting bursts of thought in 40 words. It's moved collaboration from the kitchen table to the International Space Station. It's taken criminology into the lab, from finger marks to DNA. It's woven its way into every aspect of modern life. No matter what, there's an app for that. Technology has transformed the notion of learning. It used to be that knowledge was power, but search engines have made information and data so available that anybody with the internet can suddenly tell you facts about just about anything. In many ways, this is wonderful. We can tour the Holocaust Museum. We can visit great art galleries. The world literally opens up. But without the skills that teach us to interpret, to question, to analyze critically, to debunk poorly constructed arguments, we have only visited, we have not learned. Technology must enable learning, but it must be accompanied by human interaction and human intervention. Sadly, technology has also become the coward's weapon of choice, to alienate, to bully, to denigrate, to hide in anonymity while torturing some poor soul. I want my Canada to lead the way in raising a generation of courageous children who are confident enough and strong enough to stand up for what they believe in, but they are caring enough to know that you never raise yourself up by tearing someone else down. I want them to know and to feel and to value the red and the white of the flag. And as my Canada turns 150, I want us to use technology to reach out to rural and isolated communities, to connect our Indigenous peoples across this land, to offer guides who bring insight and the map, if you will, but who allow learners to chart their own path. I want a Canada that is wired, but one that is wired for humanity, for compassion, for social mobility. And my final thread, I want a Canada that is more equal. Despite good works and good hearts, we do not yet have the country we deserve. As we move forward, we need to exploit a strength of colleges, and that is inclusion. Those who have been minoritized in this country have counted on colleges for these past 50 years as places where they get the opportunity to enter the race. But still, we leave capacity on the corner, or should I say, on the reserve. We must find an elegant solution to supporting Canada's First Peoples, to reclaim their rightful place in their country. We must find ways for all of us to build upon our strengths, to see those differently abled given more access, and those changed by socioeconomic status taught how to forge new links. I have absolutely no time for education that ghettoizes or isolates. To educate, by definition, should be to liberate, to offer a new life. So I'm not talking about a watered-down version of learning here. I'm suggesting we focus on excellence as an output measure, that we meet the learners where they are, and that we take them where they deserve to be. In a way, I stand here today as a symbol of one of the legacies of Canada's 100th birthday, Canada's colleges and the millions of graduates, me included, whose lives were changed because of their college education. I know that I've idealized my Canada, but please do not think me naive or foolish. I'm simply optimistic and determined. Take the threads of active, empowered learning, of character and citizenship, of enabling technology, and renewed visions of equity. Weave those threads together and watch what happens. I have great expectations of my Canada at 150, and I believe she can live up to these ideals if we all decide that we will be the change we wish to see in this world. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Wow.